parking lot job. So, and I'm sure this one looks a little bit familiar to everybody, but this will be, I don't know, I guess we'll call it like phase 3 of the big. That's where I did all the riprap in the back and extended this parking lot. Now we're going to finish kind of, I guess, the front portion of it up to their building. And we got about, I think it's 250 feet, roughly 50 to 60 feet wide in places right here in this section. I'm gonna blade the top of the rock off first because it's got a bunch of trash and junk mixed in with it. I'm going to try to salvage a little bit of it, but this section I'm probably going to cut down like 12 inches because they park a lot of their materials and stuff here, but it's really soft when we do get rain and stuff like that. I don't think there's a whole lot of rock, and it's mostly just kind of a wet clay underneath here. I'm going to cut this section out. It's 12 to 18 inches. We'll backfill it with 3-inch rock and roll it in and then do 1 inch. And then the main, like the middle area, I just got to cut some of that down where all that pipe's at and get everything to flow to the north over here, and then I'll have to eventually do the south side. Will be the same way. There's just sections of it where up against the fence it's real soft, so I got like 2 big sections to just cut down a little ways, fill in with rock, and then just blade the rest of it off and kind of tie it in where I cut the grade down on the back and get this stuff to flow away from the building instead of down to it. So that is my plan for now. They just got a bunch of like busted up pallets and trash and stuff, so I just thought I'm gonna push everything down to this far end, kind of away from their paved parking lot where I can load the trucks out, and then yeah, we'll start bringing some rock in. But I'm gonna, like I said, try to salvage a little bit of this rock. I just don't want to use the stuff that's got all the, I don't know, you can see like some broken pieces of pallets and different things like that. That'll just be junk to haul off. But I can probably take the cleaner stuff, maybe skim back the other way and put a little pile behind me is my plan. And then once I get it cut down to the depth I want, I will push that stuff in first and roll it in. Like you can see, like right there is like a couple inches and we're down to clay, so that's part of the reason this lot is not holding up right here. But like I said, we'll just try to salvage what we can of this. There's probably not going to be a whole lot, and then we'll add to it. But you can see, like right there where the roller's at, that's where I stopped earlier this year digging that out. So I got rid of a lot of their inventory, made a lot more room, and we're wanting to get this done before the end of the year and before it gets wet. Like you can see right there, I mean, there's like 3 inches of rock, and then it just goes to that clay. So you take a 25,000 pound forklift when it's wet, you're just gonna sink. So I'm gonna start on this section first. It's a little weird, kind of like I did last time. Just kind of bouncing around. This section was their worst spot, so they wanted to get it straightened up since I got everything moved, and then we will probably jump over to the south side, cut all that out, do the same thing so they can move stuff, and then the very last part we will do the center and kind of grade it and blend it in with what we have over here. So it makes it a little trickier when you start at 2 different ends and try to get them to the grades you need, and then make the middle all blend in. But you kind of got to work around what they need too. I mean, you can't just, it'd be nice just to shove everything to the back end, but they still have to work as well. So I can kind of just, as long as I can have some sections opened up where I can move some of this stuff around, that's pretty much all I need. So yeah, this will be my job probably, I don't know, the next 2 weeks, I'm guessing. So next week is Thanksgiving, as crazy as that already sounds, so it'll be a short week then, but I want to see if I can get this section at least cut out and maybe get some trucks in here or either bring some rock or start doing some haul off. I may even do both again, because where they take this stuff to is just 3 miles from the quarry, so cut out, I can just have them back up to the edge and then run it in here with the dozer and roll it in. got the majority of this kind of cut out down to some rockier clay. But this is some sticky stuff, which is crazy because it's really, really dry everywhere else, but there's still a lot of moisture in this junk. So now I'm gonna come up here and kind of cut these edges out as far as I can with the excavator, and then kind of clean the sides up. It's not as soft, or it didn't feel like it was as soft anyway, like right up here, but it's kind of hard to push this out with the dozer with that pile right there. And I almost thought about just getting some trucks here and just trying to dig this whole thing out with the excavator and load it directly into them. I don't actually know, I don't know if one's faster than the other. I guess if I could do that, I wouldn't have to, you know, just push it to the end and pile it up and then load the trucks out. But the trucks would be sitting here longer with me just having to dig it out and load the side of them. I like to be able to sit up on that pile, and it seems like you can just load them a little easier and quicker. They can back up to you. So I don't know, it's hard to say. It may have been a little bit more money for the trucking, but I wouldn't have only had to handle it one time. But yeah, I don't know, I guess this way with me running the dozer and piling it up, more of it can go to me and I can do a little less with the trucking. But they were tied up this morning anyways. I guess it worked out. I don't know. Like I said, it's probably 6 one way, half a dozen the other. But I want to get this stuff cut down probably at least a foot. I may take it down a little bit more and just not add as much rock, because part of their water issues, it got over here to this and it kind of went up and then it tapered back down to the fence. So I'm gonna have to kind of set my laser up, because there's kind of a big high spot out in the middle of that parking lot. I'm gonna have to strip off some of that rock and probably blade over this way and just get it to flow all over here, which is kind of doing that anyway. It's just, like I said, it's got some high spots in it. It's just a little tricky when this is kind of going to be the end or the lowest point. Just doing these little sections at a time, but we'll get there. try to cast my, this is like actually like some 2 to 3 inch stuff. I'm gonna throw it out in this deeper spot, or at least maybe that half, and try to spread it out with the dozer and roll it in some lifts. Because now I need to dig out the junk underneath there. I didn't push it up in the best spot, but I should have maybe shoved it over there, I guess, but I was trying to keep their lane open when they got trucks coming in and out, so. I can't get any trucks to do any of my haul off until tomorrow. And then I'd actually got out and set my laser up and took some measurements. I was gonna have me bring some rock on their way out here to do the haul off, but then I told them to hold off on that. But I may be able, they're gonna move that pipe for me in the morning. So I want to start, there's a pretty good, there's like a 6 to 7 inch high spot out there, and it's a lot of 3 inch rock. So I think I'm going to try to doze it off, because I'm kind of thinking on part of this, I'm going to have to almost push the rock off and then dig some of the clay out underneath it and then put the rock back on there. So I hated to finish this section with all new rock and stuff and then push that other stuff off somewhere, dig the clay out, and then have to put it back. I may be able to push a lot of that stone off and put it in lifts in this section. And I'll just leave it a little bit low so I can top coat this with fresh rock. But there's really, I mean, this stuff's a little bit dirty, but if I just throw it in here and put it back in lifts and run the roller or the compactor over it, it'll actually work up and set up just fine. So finally dug down on this stuff enough, I hit some good rocky clay. It was just, there was a good layer of, like, I guess you'd call it like fatty clay, or just didn't have any rocks in it, just real soft. Like, it was perfect to like line ponds with, but not what you would want to use for a parking lot. But there's some little bit more of it underneath here. I need to dig out a little bit further, so I almost should have just brought the Hydrema over here, but I think I can actually dig it out with the excavator and just bail it on the other side of this rock that I'm throwing out and then push it over to that pile. So I should probably just bring the Hydrema with me with these two machines on every job. I always think I'm never going to need it because it's like I don't have to really push stuff too far. And then it's like I get here and I'm like, yeah. I guess I'm just too used to having it where I can move materials around easier, since I didn't bring the loader over here with me. Need that piece of chain link. I need to throw that chain link fence away, I guess. There's a couple pieces over there I can salvage, but most of them's bent. Those ones have concrete on it. You just kind of have to roll with it. The back lot seems to be holding up really well. They're still happy with that. It's draining. It's not, doesn't have any spots that it holds a bunch of water or anything. So yeah, it's good and solid. It's just tying all the rest of it in together where it all drains and works. So yeah, let's get this thrown out, and then I'll get the dozer fired up and kind of spread this stuff out, and then we'll leapfrog the clay out in that spot and pile it up.